Oh Lord, pull up in that '04, pedal to the metal, says she wanna hit the flow more.
With the number 8 pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Atlanta Falcons select Bijan Robinson, running back from the University of Texas. Here's the point. Robinson could end up being the next Walter Payton, but they needed the next Mike Singletary. They've got problems on defense, not on. Anyway, we'll talk about that in a minute. But subscribe to Atlanta Sports Unlimited, the greatest coverage of Atlanta sports teams, right here on this YouTube channel. Also, we're sponsored by Prize Pick. Prize Picks. You can go 2 to 5 players over or under various sports. Just put in that promotion code right here. ASU as in Atlanta Sports Unlimited to win big time. Also, my book, The Real Hank Aaron. Tremendous book. And I will autograph it for you personally right here at www.therealhankaaron for $25. And if you just want the book, $20. Right, let's get back to the Falcons here. The Falcons have needed a defense forever. Remember 28-3? They gave up a 25-point lead at the end of the third quarter in the Super Bowl against New England, Bill Belichick, back in 2017. All right? Yeah, so here they are, 8th pick overall. This year's NFL Draft, and they've got Jalen Carter right there, the next Warren Sapp from the University of Georgia, right up the road from Flowery Branch. The University of Georgia that's won the last 2 national championships with one of the greatest defense in the history of college football. Jalen Carter, they passed on him. He was right there, number 8, and they go with Robinson, the running back. Anyway, I know people say, well, they passed on him because, the Falcons are all about character, and then Jalen Carter had those issues and blah, blah, blah. Well, you know what? Nolan Smith from the University of Georgia was also right there. Nolan Smith, he's a Boy Scout. He also can play. Nolan Smith, this prolific pass rusher. The dude is fast. He's smart. He gets to the quarterback. They pass on him too. They both on Jalen Carter and Nolan Smith. Okay, how did they do that? Right. But it gets worse. In the second round, they had a chance to somewhat redeem themselves, the Falcons. Okay, so right there, you had Keion White, not from the University of Georgia, but from Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech is fairly close to Flowery Branch too. All right, so they had a chance to see Keion White. The guys, they pass on him, and they get what scout friends tell me was an average offensive lineman from Syracuse. And whatever became of Keion White? Well, that Keion White goes to the New England Patriots, okay, to Bill Belichick. So essentially, what the Falcons are saying is they're smarter than Bill Belichick. Let that sink in. And I also looked this up, by the way. Last year, National Football League. The 5 teams in the National Football League last year that ran the ball the most, 4 of those 5 teams did not make the playoffs, including the Atlanta Falcons, who had their 5th consecutive losing season despite leading the National Football League in running the football. And they're going to run the football more this year than they did last year. Couple more things here. I talk about those old Chicago Bears with Walter Payton. Okay, remember Walter Payton? Yeah, he's in the Hall of Fame. The first decade Walter Payton played for Chicago Bears, they were pitiful. All right? Walter Payton's doing all these wonderful things that Robinson is going to do. Walter Payton could catch passes, could run just like Robinson could do. They did nothing for a decade until they got Mike Singletary, this prolific linebacker, and this great defense, this 46 defense. Then they started winning stuff. They even shuffled their way to a Super Bowl victory in 1985. And by the way, in that Super Bowl, the most famous touchdown scored in that Super Bowl was by some guy named William Fridge Perry. He wasn't a running back. He was a defensive lineman. Yeah, and the guy who could have scored back then, who was going downhill at the time, was Walter Payton. Walter Payton didn't score that Super Bowl. I'm just saying. Right? And one final thing. I mentioned that last year. Did I tell you this? Last year, the 5 teams that ran the ball the most in the National Football League, 4 did not make the playoffs. The one that did make the playoffs were the Philadelphia Eagles. So people say, well, yeah, the Philadelphia Eagles, they went to the Super Bowl. What does that tell you? Well, that just tell you they had a quarterback, Jalen Hurts, who could run the football and who also could pass. Desmond Ridder, the Falcons quarterback, is no Jalen Hurts, at least not yet. And the other thing that the Philadelphia Eagles had, they had a great defense last year. And guess what? That defense that the Eagles had that was so great last year is going to be even greater this year because they got Jalen Carter, the guy that the Falcons passed on, and they also got Nolan Smith, who the Falcons passed on. They got both of those guys. And then the Falcons, oh boy.
This is my falsetto, wicked potion with the slow pour. This is my addiction, make me wanna go for more. Pale